Welcome back to the Knowledge of the Fourth Cycle. This is a 5-part video series designed to awaken the dormant faculties of mind. This is part 5, Meditation Techniques.
Meditation Techniques. Breath and the gap. We are breathing continuously, from the moment of birth to the moment of death. Everything changes between these 2 points. Everything changes, and nothing remains the same. Only breathing is a constant thing between birth and death. A child will be born, become young, and the youth will become old. He will be diseased, his body will become ugly, and everything will change. He will be happy, unhappy, in suffering, everything will go on changing. But whatever happens between these 2 points, one must breathe. Breathing will be a continuous flow, no gap is possible. Your breath is a bridge between you and your body. Constantly, breath is bridging you to your body, connecting you, relating you to your body. Breath, therefore, becomes very significant, the most significant thing. If you can do something with the breath, you will suddenly turn to the present. If you can do something with your breath, you will attain to the source of life. If you can do something with breath, you can transcend time and space. If you can do something with breath, you will be in the world, and also beyond it. Breath has 2 points, one is where it touches the body, and the universe. And another, is where it touches you, and that which transcends the universe. We know only one part of the breath. When it moves into the universe, into the body, we know it. But it is always moving from the body, to the nobody, from the nobody, to the body. We do not know the other point. If you can become aware of the other point, the other pole of the bridge, suddenly you will be transformed, transplanted into a different dimension. There are certain points, but we are not aware of them. We have been breathing and we will go on breathing. We are born breathing, and we will die breathing. But we are not aware of certain points. There are certain points in breathing that you have never observed, and those points are the nearest doors to you, where you can enter a different world, into a different being, into a different consciousness. But they are very subtle. Breathing is the nearest thing to you, and the nearer you are, the more difficult it is to perceive it. When your breath comes in, observe. For a single moment or a thousandth part of a moment, there is no breathing before it turns up, or turns outwards. One breath comes in, then there is a certain point and breathing stops. Then the breath goes out. When the breath goes out, then again for a single moment, or a part of a moment, breathing stops. Then, breathing comes in. Before the breath is turning in, or turning out, there is a moment when you are not breathing. In that moment, the happening is possible, because, when you are not breathing you are not in this world. Understand this, when you are not breathing you are dead. The moment is of such a short duration, that you have never observed it. The gap, between the two, is of a short duration, you will need a keen, sincere observation, and attention to feel the gap. If you can feel the gap, nothing else is needed. You are blessed, you have known, the thing has happened. You are not to train the breath, leave it just as it is. You can know breath going out, you can know breath coming in, but you never know the gap between the 2 points. Try, suddenly you will get the point, and you can get it. It is already there, everything is already there except a certain awareness. So how to do this? First, become aware of the breath coming in. Watch it. Forget everything. Just watch the breath coming in. When the breath touches your nostrils, feel it there. Then let the breath move in. Move with the breath fully conscious. When you are going down, down, down with the breath, do not miss the breath. Do not go ahead, do not follow behind. Just go with it. Remember this, do not go ahead, do not follow like a shadow. Be simultaneous with it. Breath and consciousness should become one. The breath goes in, you go in. Only then will it be possible to get the point, which is between 2 breaths. It will not be easy, but it can be done, it has been done, and you can do it. Meditation Techniques. Self-remembering. Living in the mind is as if someone is living in a mirror. Mind is a reflecting phenomenon, and we are living in the mind. We must descend from our thrones, come down from our heads. We are living, but we are not aware that we are, or that we are living. There is no self-remembering. You are aware of everything around you, but you are not aware of your own self. You may be aware of the whole world, but if you are not aware of yourself, that awareness is false. Why? Because your mind can reflect everything, but your mind cannot reflect you. If you are aware of yourself, then you have transcended the mind. Your self-remembering cannot be reflected in your mind, because you are behind the mind. It can reflect only things that are in front of it. You can see others, but you cannot see yourself. If you want to see yourself, you will need a mirror. Only in the mirror can you see yourself, but then, you'll have to stand in front of the mirror. If your mind is a mirror, it can reflect the whole world. It cannot reflect you, because you cannot stand in front of it. You are always behind the mirror.
Remember yourself, whatever you are doing. It is very difficult, it looks very easy, but you will go on forgetting. Even for 3 or 4 seconds, you cannot remember yourself. You will have a feeling that you are remembering, and suddenly, you will have moved to some other thought. Even with this thought, that okay, I am remembering myself, you will have missed, because a thought is not self-remembering. In self-remembering, there will be no thought, you will be completely empty. And self-remembering is not a mental process. Remember, mind or mining is a process of words, so, it is not that you say, yes, I am. Saying yes, I am, you have missed. This is a mind thing, this is a mental process, saying I am. You must feel the I am, not the word I am.
Don't verbalize. Just feel that you are. Don't think, feel, try it, it is difficult, but if you go on insisting it happens. While walking, remember yourself, remember that you are. Don't have the thought, or any idea, just feel. This non-verbal feeling, even if for only a single moment, will give you a glimpse no LSD, marijuana, or cocaine can give, a glimpse, which is of the real. For a single moment, you are thrown back to the center of your being. You are still behind the mirror, but now, you have transcended the world of reflections, the world of mind. And you can do it at any time. It doesn't need any special place, or any special time. And you cannot say, I have no time. When eating, you can do it. When taking a bath, you can do it. When moving, or sitting, you can do it. No matter what you are doing, you can suddenly remember yourself. And, when you are remembering, try to continue this glimpse, try to stay in that present moment. It will be difficult. One moment, you will feel that it is there, the next moment, you will have moved away. Some thought will have entered, some reflection will have come to you, and, you will have become involved in the reflection. But don't be sad, and don't be disappointed. This is so, because for lives together we have been concerned with the reflections, and this, has become a robot-like mechanism. Instantly, automatically, we are thrown to the reflection. But, if even for a single moment you have the glimpse, it is enough for the beginning. And why is it enough? Because, you will never get 2 moments together. Only one moment, is with you always. And, if you can have the glimpse for a single moment, you can remain in it for all eternity, only effort is needed, a continuous effort is needed. A single moment is given to you. You cannot have 2 moments together, so don't worry about 2 moments. You will always get only 1 moment.
Meditation techniques. Cosmic orgasm. The physical body is a chemical laboratory. The food we take into the stomach passes through various stages of transformation, in the process of digestion, first, becoming the chyle, then blood. When it is thrown into the generative function, it becomes seed, then the seed, through the action of the same function, is changed to lymph, a transparent colorless fluid. The word lymph is derived from nymphs, spirit, and this fluid was anciently called spirit water, or water of life. This fluid, which is absorbed into the body, is carried by the lymphatic system, through all ports of the body, and as it reaches the various organs, it causes a pleasurable sensation. The more the sex energy and fluid are retained in the body, the greater the fullness of life, health, and mental power is experienced by the person. The testicles produce sperm and hormones, and the prostates produce the nutrients, hormone, and energy-rich seminal fluid. These secretions constitute semen, which is the substance that serves as the carrier of sperm. When the average male ejaculates, he loses about 1 tablespoon of semen with about 40 drops of blood. According to scientific research, the nutritional value of this amount of semen is equal to that of 2 pieces of New York steak, 10 eggs, 6 oranges and 2 lemons combined. That includes proteins, vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. The semen also contains a great deal of vital energy. If it were possible to discharge all this fluid, the body would soon die of blood poisoning. After ejaculation, all the 7 glands are depleted, particularly the sexual glands. If you go in this direction, moving the energy down, through the 7 glands, and out of the body, through ejaculation, you are moving in the direction of the human beings, and all human beings eventually die. If you go into the other direction, this is changing the direction of energy. You are becoming players in the game of life, and not a mere pawn. You become a creator, a conscious creator, moving energy, creating a new path for energy to flow, and the more you practice, the closer you come to mastership, to mastery. The retention of the sex energy will give fertilization to brain cells, by increasing the life force in the brain and body, and you become physically and mentally strong. This will also perfect the intuitive nature, which is spiritual. Then we are enabled to know things that are to come. This intuitive faculty is the master and guide of the intellect. So, man, when he has charged the body with this element of life, attracts the mental principle of the solar fluid. This unites with his intelligence, and thus enables him to know many things, but cannot always explain how he knows them, but he does. This is intuition. The business world is controlled by 2 principles. First, love between man and man. Second, psychic, or willpower, man over man. The intuitive powers, when properly developed, enable any man to feel and understand what is in others. When 2 men meet, on a business plane, they are apt to feel each other's conditions, and are there either attracted or repelled, or even moved to love or hate. The real motives and feelings of a person's heart are perceived by those who have developed the intuitive faculties through retention of sex energy. The psychic, or mind power, or mind force, is the force that has been conserved for the use of the brain, and concentrated, and sent out by the will, with a combative, subduing, or controlling intent. A man, or woman with a strong mind, having this mental power well developed, can control those having less mental power, so that he projects, into the other's mind, his own feelings, thoughts, and desires. The other person's willpower being conquered, will cause his fellow man to do that, which he wills him to do. The world is ruled by these 2 principles, love and mind force, and those persons who have the energy retained are enabled to rule their fellows by the solar inspiration, or drawing in of the solar mind force, and sending it out, clothed with their own life and energy. The building and storing of the sex force enable a person to create thought forms, and send them out by his will, to persons near or far, to bring about desired results. A person who is fighting against his sex energy, what will he do? He will suppress, and fighting is suppression. He will push down sex somewhere in the subconsciousness, or unconsciousness, and create a false structure above ground. The structure will be false, because energies have not been transformed, which can make it real. The structure is phony. Underground, or in the subconsciousness, the real energies have been repressed. The real energies will always remain there working, and at any moment they can explode. You are just sitting on a volcano, and every moment that volcano is trying to erupt. If it does, your structure will be shaken. Your intelligence, your morality, your religion, your so-called being above animal things disappears. A person who suppresses sex starts seeing sex everywhere, everything becomes sexual. Not that everything is sexual, but now he projects. His or her hidden energy is now projected. Everywhere he or she will see sex, and because he is condemning himself, he will start condemning everyone. His mind will become more and more sexual, and more he will be afraid. The celibacy is a perversion, it is unnatural. First learn how to move in sex, how to know it, how to feel it, how to come to the deepest possibility hidden in it, how to find the essential beauty, the essential happiness, and bliss that is hidden there. You can take a vow of celibacy. It makes no difference to your sex instinct. It simply goes underground, and when it comes up, your vows of celibacy will prove to be made of just dreamlike stuff. They cannot face the real. Your consciousness, right now, is just a shadow. It is not a real thing. It has no substance in it. When your sex energy asserts itself, where will your mind be? Where is your consciousness, where is your morality, where are your vows, that you have taken so many times? They simply disappear. When sex has moved again to its cave, to its underground, you start repenting.
Those phony fellows start gathering again. They start talking, condemning, and planning, and again in the future, the same will happen. So, these are the two attitudes: you can either suppress sex. Then you will never go beyond it. Or you can use your sex energy in a creative way, not saying no to it, but giving it a deep yes, not forcing it underground, but creating a structure above ground with it. Then you will be a real man. It will be difficult, obviously. That is why we choose the easier path. It is easy to have a false structure, because nothing is needed. To deceive yourself, you can create a false structure easily. To create a reality is a difficult task. It is worthwhile, because once you create something out of it, for example, love, if sex is transformed, it becomes love; if it is suppressed, it becomes hatred. You become afraid of love if you suppress sex. A person who has suppressed sex will always be afraid of love, because the moment love comes, sex will follow.
Love is the soul, and sex is the body. So, love cannot be allowed to happen, because then sex will follow. So, a person who has suppressed sex cannot be loving. He may show, he may pretend, that he is very loving, but he cannot be, because he is so afraid. He cannot touch you with a loving hand, because fear is there. The loving hand can, at any moment, turn to be a sexual touch. So, he will be afraid, he will not allow you to touch him. He may create many justifications for it, but the real thing is fear, fear of the instinct he has repressed. Any energy that is repressed reverses itself, and goes to its original nature. Sex moves easily toward love. That is a natural flow. If you prevent it, if you create a hindrance to its path, it will become hatred. So, all your so-called saints, and so-called moral teachers, if you look deep into them, you will find them filled with hatred, and that is bound to be, it is natural. Sex is hidden there. Any moment it can erupt. They are sitting on a dangerous volcano. You are to understand this energy, your consciousness is to understand, and understanding becomes the transformation. If you do not understand it, every effort is bound to be a failure, and harmful. So, first understand it, and through understanding, the path will be revealed. You are not to force your energies on that path. Through understanding you come to know the law. Just like in science, what are you doing in science? You come to understand a natural law, a natural mystery is revealed. Once the natural mystery is revealed, you can use the energy creatively. Without you knowing the inherent law, all efforts are doomed. Understand sex, be alert, and try to find out its ways, and how it works. What are its functions? And be constantly aware of the very movement of your sexual instincts within. If you can be conscious of its instincts, there will be no division. You will not have an unconscious mind. Once you know that secret, you can transcend it, because, in a deep sexual orgasm, it is not sex that gives you bliss, it is something else. That something else can be divided into three elements. When I speak about these elements, do not think that you can understand them just from these words. They must become part of your experience. As concepts, they are useless. Because of three basic elements in sex, you come to a blissful moment. Those three are: first, timelessness, you transcend time completely, you forget time completely. Secondly, you lose your ego, and you become egoless. You and your beloved are lost in something else. Thirdly, you are natural for the first time. The unreal is lost, the faces, the facades are lost, the culture, the civilization is lost. These three things give you the ecstasy. Sex is just a situation in which it happens naturally. All meditations are essentially the experience of sex without sex, but you must go through it. It must become part of your experience, not just be there as concepts, ideas, or thoughts. Sex is not for sex, sex is to transcend. But remember, you can transcend only through experience, not through ideology. Only through knowledge does transcendence happen. Your body is a treasury of hidden forces, of mysterious possibilities. In your body is the whole cosmos in miniature, it is just a miniature of the whole cosmos. Do not fight with it. What is your sex if the body is a miniature? Throughout the whole cosmos, creation is going on every moment, which is sex in you. And if there is so much force in it, it is because you are needed to be a creator. If sex is so powerful, it only means that you cannot be allowed to be non-creative, you must create. If you cannot create something greater, then at least create life. Create something greater or better than you. Create someone who will replace you when you die. Sex is so forceful because the cosmos cannot allow you to be non-creative, and you are fighting with it. Use it. There is no need to use sex only in reproduction. In every creation sex is used. Why? Because sex energy is creative energy. That is why a great poet, a great painter, may not feel so much of an urge for sex. The reason is not that he is a saint. The reason is simply this: he is creating something, and the need is fulfilled. A great musician is creating music. No father can feel as much fulfillment as a musician feels when great music is created, and no son can give so much happiness to any parent as a great piece of music can give to a musician, or great poetry can give to a poet. Because he is creating, on higher realms, nature relieves him of lower creation. The energy has moved higher. So, do not fight with energy, allow the energy to move higher. There are masters who are neither a painter, nor a musician, nor poet, and they have gone beyond sex. What has happened to sex? The highest creation is the creation of oneself. The highest creation is the creation of total consciousness within. Creation of a whole being within, oneness. When you move in ordinary sex, you create your body, and the replica is created. When you move higher, you create spirit, you create soul, if you allow me the expression, you create God. Creative energy going up, not out, will create a God-man from the human. Energy can move in two dimensions. If it moves in fight, you are wasting it every day. If it accumulates, and there is no fight, a moment comes, just like when you go on heating water to 100 degrees. Then the water becomes something else, it evaporates. Then it is no longer liquid. It becomes a gas. It will not become transformed at 99 degrees. It will become transformed only at 100 degrees. The same happens inwards. We are wasting energy every day, and the evaporating point never comes. It cannot come, because energy is not accumulating at all. This is what is happening. You have sex, and throw energy out. After sex, you feel depressed, against it, and will think of renouncing life, and taking a vow against it. Of course, these vows will not go on long. Within 24 hours, you will be recharged, okay, and ready to move again into sex. But it becomes a repetition, and the whole thing seems futile. You accumulate energy, then you throw it away, and nothing results out of it, and this is a long boredom. The way to know is not through conflict. You cannot know anything if you are in a fighting mood, because then you are not receptive. Then because you are fighting, secrets will be hidden from you. You are a play of sex energy, and nothing less. Sex is the deepest biological center within you, your every cell is a sex cell, and your whole body is a sex energy phenomenon. When you were born, two sex cells met, and your being was created, and your body was created. Those two sex cells are everywhere in your body. They have multiplied, and multiplied, and multiplied, but your basic unit remains the sex cell. Unless you understand this energy and transcend it, you will never be anything more. You are right now nothing but sex energy. You can be more, but if you do not understand this, and do not transcend it, you will never be more. If you are fighting sex, you are always outside. If you surrender to sex, you reach the very inner core of it, you are an insider. If you surrender, then many things become known. You have been in sex, but always with a fighting attitude. Behind it, you have not known the life-giving forces of sex. You don't know and can't know, that needs an insider. If you are flowing with sex energy, totally surrendered, sooner or later you will arrive at the point where you will know that sex can do more than give birth to a new life, sex can give you more life. To lovers, sex can become a life-giving force, but for that, you need to surrender. The first step is to accept. The first step is very difficult, to accept the fact of your sexual energy. When you are not having sex, the sex is still there. It is not that someone or something has excited your sex energy. It is part of your constitution. Even if you are alone, the sex is still there. Sex is your energy, your part. It is not that sometimes it flares up, no. It cannot flare up, if it is not always there. You can turn it on, and you can turn it off. In situations you change, but inwardly you remain the same. Accepting means sex is not an act. Rather, you are sex. It is not an act. Accepting this means throwing the self-image. And we all have built beautiful self-images, absolutely beautiful. But if you accept and say, I am sex, then your self-image falls down immediately. This is the first step, and the most difficult, to accept whatsoever you are. Non-acceptance of nature creates the ego. Self, the non-acceptance of your suchness. If you accept it, the ego will not be there. If you do not accept it, if you reject it, if you create ideals against it, there will be ego. Ideals are the stuff that egos are made of. Accept yourself, but if you have ideas, you need not transform yourself. You can always hope to be transformed in the future by the ideals themselves. Then you can condemn others very easily. Whatsoever you are, accept it. Do not condemn yourself, do not condemn others, for none are qualified to condemn, and very few are qualified to help. Energies are not changed by it. The first step is to accept. Remain with the fact, this is very scientific. And know the fact in its total facticity. Do not just touch it from above, from the surface. Know the fact in its totality, in its total facticity, then move into its roots. And remember, whenever you can move into the roots of anything, you transcend it. If you can know your sex to the very roots, you become the master of it. Then you can use it. Remember this, for a seeker, a real seeker, this is a basic thing to be understood. Remain with your facts. Try to know them, do not allow society to force its ideology on you. Do not look at yourself through others' eyes. You have eyes, you are not blind. And you have facts of inner life. Use your eyes. Be an individual. Do not allow society too much domination over you. Do not be a slave. You have consciousness, you have sex, anger, and other facts. Use your consciousness, be aware. Think of yourself as if you are alone. No one is there to teach you. What will you do? You start from the very beginning, from A, B, C, and go inside. To your Lord God of truth within. Be totally aware. Do not decide, do not be in haste, do not conclude so soon. If you can reach a conclusion through your own awareness, that very conclusion will become a transformation. So, people, society, teachers, and priests go on saying suppress, because it is not good. The real cause is that they are afraid. They are afraid of themselves. It is a very fearful thing hidden inside, so they are afraid of it. It shows that you have never been in sex totally, so totally that you could have forgotten yourself. You were always there, your mind was always there, and if the mind is there in the sex act, then the act is just pseudo, bogus. The mind must dissolve. There must not be any thinking. If thinking is there, you are divided. It is a release, nothing else. But, you are afraid to be total in sex, that is why you fall in line. Why do you toe the line with society, that sex is bad? You are afraid. Why are you afraid? Because if you move into sex totally, you do not know what can happen, you don't know what animal your unconscious or subconscious may throw you into. You do not know? Then you will not be the master, you will not be in control. Your self-image may be destroyed. In consequence, you control the sex act. And the way to control is to remain in the mind. Sex can be a very deep fulfillment, and sex can throw you back to your wholeness, to your natural, real being. If sex is a total act, you are thrown off your mind, off balance. That is why there is so much fear of sex. You are identified with the mind, and sex is a no-mind act. You become headless, you do not have a head in the act. There is no reasoning, no mental process. If there is any mental process, there is no real authentic sex. Then there is no orgasm, no fulfillment. Then the sex act itself becomes a local thing, something cerebral, and it has become so. All over the world, so much hankering, and so much lust for sex, it's not because the world has become more sexual. It is because we cannot enjoy sex as a total act. This hunger shows that the real is missing and there is only the false. It has become mental, you think about it. What has happened? The sex act has become mental. You feel vital energy when you think about it, but when you want to move into the actual act, you feel there is no energy, even no desire. You feel that the body has become dead. You can only think about it. You cannot do it, because doing will involve your whole being. And, whenever there is any involvement of the whole, the head becomes uneasy, because then it cannot be the master. It cannot be in control. Let the sex act be there. Try to understand this, your sex center keeps accumulating energy. When it is overflowing, you must release it, otherwise, it will create tension, and it will create heaviness. You release it, but this release is local. Your whole body, your whole self is not involved. Non-local total involvement means that every fiber of your body, every cell of your body, whatsoever you are, is into it. Your whole being has become sexual, not only your sex center, your whole being has become sexual, but then you are afraid, because anything is possible. And you do not know what can happen, because you have never known the totality. You may do certain things of which you cannot conceive. Your unconscious or subconscious will explode. You will become not one animal, but many animals, because you have passed through many lives, through many animal bodies. You may start howling, you may start screaming, you may start roaring like a lion, you don't know. Anything is possible, that creates fear, you need to be in control, so you never lose yourself in anything. That is why you never know anything. And unless you know, you cannot transcend. Accept, move deep, and go to the very roots. Anything experienced can be transcended, anything suppressed can never be transcended. Two things will happen. 1. Sexuality will disappear. Sex may remain, but sexuality will disappear completely. When there is no sexuality, sex is divine. When the cerebral hankering is not there, when you are not thinking about it, when it has become a total act, a movement of your whole being, not only of the mind, then it is divine. Sex may disappear, But first sexuality disappears. Then sex becomes a pure innocent act, and then sex also disappears. Then there is true celibacy. It is not opposite to sex, it is just the absence of it in a natural way. And remember this difference. If you ejaculate in the act, then it cannot be life-giving to you. There is no need to ejaculate, ejaculation can be totally forgotten. Ejaculation is because you are fighting. Otherwise, there is no need for it. For most people, sex is a release. So, when you move in it, you are in a hurry. You just want a release. Overflowing energy will be released, and you will feel at ease. This at easiness is just a sort of weakness. Overflowing energy creates tensions, excitement. You feel something must be done. When the energy is released, you feel weak. You may take this weakness as relaxation. If you can relax by throwing this energy, it is at a very great cost. And this relaxation can only be physical. It cannot go deeper, and cannot become spiritual. Two lovers meeting can create three figures, three geometrical figures. One figure is a square, another is a triangle, and the third figure is a circle. Ordinarily, when you are in the sex act, there are four persons, not two, and this is a square. Four angles are there, because you yourself are divided into two, into the thinking part, and the feeling part. Your partner is also divided into two, you are four persons. Two people are not meeting, four people are meeting. It is a crowd, and there can be no deep meeting really. There are four corners, and the meeting is false. It looks like a meeting, but it is not. There can be no communion, because your deeper part is hidden, and your beloved's deeper part is also hidden. And only two heads are meeting, only two thinking processes are meeting, not two feeling processes. They are hidden. The second type of meeting can be like a triangle, you are two angles of the base. For a sudden moment, you become one, like the third angle of the triangle. For a sudden moment, your two-ness is lost, and you become one. This is better than a square meeting, because at least for a single moment, there is oneness. That oneness gives you vitality, you feel alive and young again. The third is the best, and the third is the spiritual meeting, you become a circle. There are no angles, and the meeting is not for a single moment. The meeting is non-temporal, there is no time in it. And this can happen only if you are not seeking ejaculation. If you are seeking ejaculation, then it will become a triangle meeting, because the moment there is ejaculation, the contact point is lost. Remain with the beginning, do not move to the end. The lover and beloved can be in a deep sexual embrace, just relaxing into each other with no hurry to ejaculate, with no hurry to end the affair. If this relaxation is total, they both will feel more life. They both will enrich each other. They can live for a long time, and they can live, never becoming old. But this can only be known if you are not fighting sex. Those who are fighting sex will ejaculate sooner, because the tense mind is in a hurry to be relieved of the tension. New research has found that 75% of men are premature ejaculators, 75%. Before there is a deep meeting, they have ejaculated and the act is over, finished. The same research found that 90% of women never have an orgasm, only vaginal spasms. They never reach to a peak, to a deep fulfilling peak, 90% of women. That is why women are so angry, and irritated, and they will remain so. No meditation can help them to be peaceful, and no philosophy, no religion, no ethics, will make them at peace with the men with whom they are living. They are in frustration, in anger, because unless a woman is deeply fulfilled through orgasms, she will be a problem in the family. That which she is lacking will create irritations, and she will be always in a fighting mood. A woman's orgasm is completely different from a man's. The only path that will lead a couple to sexual compatibility, sexual enjoyment, sexual satisfaction, and unification is the path of understanding, through understanding of these two different orgasms. It is important to say here, that because a woman can only be satisfied by a man, it is the man's obligation, and duty, to perform this function. A man's role is to serve, and if the woman is not satisfied, it is the man's responsibility. A woman is in the position of opening up, and receiving in her orgasmic state. If a man completely pleases his woman, he will receive her unconditional love. This is a fact of life. A woman in orgasm can be described as a blooming flower. A woman experiencing a complete orgasm, all 9 levels of orgasm, undergoes 9 steps of blossoming, until she finally opens up, and surrenders herself to a man who has served her. But, what happens normally, is that the man ejaculates, gets satisfied, then he goes to sleep, and the wife goes on weeping. She has just been used, and the experience has not been in any way fulfilling to her. 90% of women do not even know what an orgasm is. They have never known it, they have never reached a peak, of such a blissful convulsion of the body that every fiber vibrates, and every cell comes alive. Meditation techniques. Cosmic orgasm. How to remain in the beginning. First, don't take the sex act as a way of going anywhere. Don't take it as a means, it is the end itself. There is no end to it, it is not a means. When there is no anxiety, ejaculation can be postponed for hours, even for days. And there is no need for it. If the love is deep, both parties can be postponed for hours, even for days. And there is no need for it. If the love is deep, both parties can invigorate each other. Then ejaculation completely ceases, and for years, 2 lovers can meet with each other without any ejaculation, without any wastage of energy. They can just relax with each other. Their bodies meet and relax, they enter sex and relax. And sooner or later, sex will not be an excitement. It is an excitement right now, but then it is a relaxation, a deep let go. Never make love while you are excited. This seems absurd because you want to make love when you are excited. And, normally, both partners excite each other in order that they can make love. Make love while you are calm, serene, and meditative, and when making love, do not go beyond the limits. What do I mean by do not go beyond the limit? Do not become excited and violent, in order that your energy will not be dispersed. If you have seen monkeys in intercourse, or dogs, after the intercourse they separate. Look at their faces. There is no ecstasy in them. It is as if nothing has happened. When energy forces itself, they throw it. The ordinary sex act is just like this. Animals cannot enjoy sex, never, only man can enjoy. And the deeper you can enjoy, the higher the kind of humanity that is born. And if your sex act can become meditative ecstatic, the highest is touched. It is a valley orgasm, it is not a peak experience. It is a valley experience. Second, do not think of the future, remain with the present. Enjoy the meeting of 2 bodies, 2 souls, and merge into each. Forget that you are going anywhere. Remain in the moment going nowhere and melt. Warmth, and love, should be made a situation for 2 persons to melt into each other. That is why, if there is no love, the sex act is a hurried act. You are using each other, the other is just a means. And the other is using you. You are exploiting each other, not merging into each other. With love you can merge. This merging in the beginning will give many new insights. If you are not in a hurry to finish the act, by and by, becomes less and less sexual, and more spiritual. Sex organs also melt into each other. A deep, silent communion happens between 2 body energies, and then you can remain for hours together. This togetherness moves deeper, and deeper as time passes. But don't think. Remain with the moment deeply merged. It becomes an ecstasy. And if you can know this, if you can feel and realize this, your sexual mind will become non-sexual. Then celibacy can be attained. Celibacy can be attained through it. This looks paradoxical, because we have been always thinking in terms that if a person must remain celibate, he must not look at the other sex, he must not meet the other sex. He must avoid, escape. A very false celibacy happens then, the mind goes on thinking about the other sex. And the more you escape from the other, the more you must think, because this is a basic deep need. Do not try to escape, there is no escape possible. Rather, use nature itself to transcend. Don't fight, accept nature to transcend it. Sex must not remain sex, that is the ancient teachings. It must be transformed into love. Sex is the seed, and love is the flower. Sex is innocent energy, life flowing in you, existing, alive in you. Do not cripple it. Allow it to move toward the heights. That is, sex must become love. Sex is not to be condemned, and if you condemn the seed, you condemn the flower. Sex can become love. If it never becomes love, then it has been crippled. Condemn, if you must, the crippledness, not the sex. Love must flower. If it is not becoming love, it is not the fault of sex. It is your fault. Become a circle. Give life to your beloved, renew each other. With no ejaculation, with no throwing energy out, no energy is lost. It becomes a meditation, and through it you become whole. Through it your split personality is transformed, it is bridged. All neurosis is a splitness. If you are bridged, again you become a child, innocent. In a deep sex act, you can meditate easily, so easily, that in no other state of mind it will never be as easy, because this is a natural, biological ecstasy. But whatsoever you know as sex is in a very perverted form, so whenever such things are said, you feel uneasy, because whatsoever you have known in the name of sex is not sex. It is just a shadow, because the whole society has cultivated your mind against sex. Everyone is a suppressed person, so natural sex is impossible. And whenever you are in a sex act, a deep guilt feeling is always present there. That guilt feeling becomes a barrier, and one of the greatest opportunities are lost. You could have used it to go deep down into yourself. Sex is just the beginning, not the end. But if you miss the beginning, you will miss the end also, and you cannot escape the beginning to reach the end. In the sex act be meditative. Feel the whole phenomenon as holy, do not feel guilt. Rather, feel blessed, that nature has given you one source, through which you can go deep into ecstasy immediately, and then, be totally free in it. Do not repress, do not resist. Let the sexual communion take hold of you. Forget yourself, throw away all your inhibitions. Be absolutely natural, and then you will feel a deep music in the body. When both bodies become one harmony, then you will forget completely that you are, and still, you will be. Then you will forget the I, just existence playing with existence, one being with another. And the two will become one. There will be no thinking, the future will cease, and you will be in the present this very moment. Without guilt, without any inhibitions, make it a meditation and then sex is transformed. Then sex itself becomes a door. If sex becomes a door, by and by sex ceases to be sexual. And a moment comes when sex has gone, and only the perfume has remained. That perfume is love. Take life naturally, do not be unreal. Sex is there as a deep possibility, a great potentiality, use it. You can use the sex act to make you whole, but then you must move in it very meditatively. You must move in it forgetting all that you have heard about sex, studied about sex, all that the society has told you, the church, your religion, the teachers. Forget everything, and get involved in it in your totality. Forget to control, control is the barrier, rather be possessed by it, do not control it. Religions go on condemning anger and sex as if both are the same, or as if both belong to the same category, they do not. Anger is destructive, sex is creative, sex is the source of creativity, the Creator has used it for creation. Sexuality is just like jealousy, anger, and greed. It is always destructive. Sex is not. But we don't know pure sex. We know only sexuality. Thinking about it is sexuality. Sex transferred to the head is sexuality. Living it is a different thing, and, if you can live it, you can go beyond it. Anything lived totally, can lead you beyond. Sex energy has two parts. One is physical, and one is psychic. In your body everything has two parts. Just like your body and mind, everything within you has two parts. The material part is semen. It cannot rise upwards, there is no passage for it. Semen, the material part, cannot rise, it is only the body of sex energy. It is not the sex energy itself. The sex energy is the psychic part, and the psychic part can rise, and for that psychic part, the spinal passage is used, the spinal passage, and its centers, the vertebrae. The spine is the base of both your body and mind. Your mind, your head, is the end part of the spine. The whole body is rooted in the spine. If the spine is young, you are young. If the spine is old, you are old. If you can keep your spine young, it will be difficult to become old. If your spine is alive, you will have a brilliant mind. If the spine is dull and dead, you will have a very dull mind. The spine has two ends. The beginning is the sex center, and the end is the seventh center. At the top of the head, the beginning of the spine is attached to the earth, and sex is the most earthly thing in you. From the beginning center in the spine, you are in contact with the divine, or God. So, either your energy will be flowing down, from the sex center, back to the earth, or your energy will be flowing up from your sex center, and released from the head center, into the cosmos. If you have observed at all, you must have observed, that your sex energy moves with imagination. Just through imagination, your sex center starts functioning. That is why even in dreams you can get an erection and an ejaculation. Your mind has much energy, and many faculties, and the will is one of them. But, you cannot will sex. For sex will is unimportant. If you try to love someone, you will feel you have gone impotent. So never try. Will never functions with sex. Only with imagination will it function. Imagine, and the sex center will start to function. Why am I emphasizing this fact? Because if imagination helps the energy to move, then you can move it upward or downward, just by imagination. You cannot move your blood by imagination, you cannot do anything else in the body by imagination. There are two types of climaxes, and two types of orgasm. One type of orgasm is known. You reach to a peak of excitement, then you cannot go further, the end has come. The excitement reached a point, where it became non-voluntary. The energy jumps into you and goes out. You are relieved of it, unburdened. The load is thrown, and you can relax and sleep. You are using it like a tranquilizer? In fact, it is a natural tranquilizer. A good sleep will follow if your mind is not burdened by religion. This is one type of orgasm, coming to the peak of excitement. There is another type of orgasm. In it, you are not coming to the peaks of excitement, but to the deepest valley of excitement. Excitement must be used for both in the beginning. Excitement must be used for both. Either you are going toward the peak of excitement, or to the valley of relaxation. In the beginning, both are the same, but the ends are totally different. For the first, excitement must be intense, more and more intense. You must grow in it, you must help it to grow toward the peak. In the second, excitement is just the beginning. And once the man has entered the woman, both lover and beloved can relax. No movement is needed. You can relax in a loving embrace. When the man feels, or the woman feels, that the erection is going to be lost, only then is a little movement and excitement required. But, then again relax. You can prolong this deep embrace for hours, with no ejaculation, and then both can fall into a deep meditation together. This is a valley orgasm. You can indulge as much as you like, because no energy is lost. Energy is gained. Man and woman are opposite forces, negative positive, yin, yang. When they both meet in a deep relaxation, they revitalize each other. They both become generators. You both become radiant with new energy, and nothing is lost, and love sex can be done as much as you like. Ordinary sex cannot be done as much as you like, because you are losing energy in it, and your body will have to wait to regain it. When the average male ejaculates, he loses about 1 tablespoon of semen, with about 40 drops of blood. And it takes about a 24-hour period before the man can fully, and safely, replenish his semen and energy loss. If it were possible to discharge all this fluid, the body would soon die of blood poisoning. After ejaculation, all 7 glands are depleted, particularly the sexual glands. If you go in this direction, moving the energy down, through the 7 glands, and out of the body through ejaculation, you are moving in the direction of the human beings, and all human beings eventually die. In ordinary sexual orgasm, you go into excitement toward the peak, and then you fall. That is why, after every sex act, you fall. And it is natural, you are falling from a peak. You will never feel that, after a cosmic sex experience. You cannot fall any further, because you are in the valley. When you come back after a cosmic sex act, you have risen, not fallen. You feel filled with energy, more vital, more alive, radiant. And the ecstasy will last for hours, even days. It depends on how deep you are in it. If you move in it, sooner or later, you will realize that ejaculation is a waste of energy. No need for it, unless you need children. 2 things we are very much afraid of: sex and death, and both are basic, both are related. A real seeker of truth will enter both. He will enter or experience sex to know what it is, because to know sex is to know life. All techniques and religions that are unaware that a valley orgasm is possible are against sex. They know only one kind, the ordinary orgasm, and then sex, and God realization becomes a problem for them. For yoga it is a problem, because yoga is trying to force your sex energy upwards. Sex energy moving upwards is called Kundalini. It is said that the soul is attained through knowledge. Yet the knowledge that reveals the soul is not the worldly knowledge that we acquire from books or in schools. It is the inner understanding of unity, the realization that we in the Absolute are one and the same. How do we obtain this knowledge? It comes to us spontaneously, when our inner energy awakens and unfolds within us. This inner energy is known as Kundalini, and it lives within every human being. Kundalini has 2 aspects: one carries out our worldly functions, while the other leads us to the highest truth. The outgoing, worldly aspect of Kundalini is functioning perfectly, but its inner spiritual aspect is dormant. That is why we are not aware of it. The Kundalini is spoken of in nearly every tradition, though it is known by different names. In China, it is called Qi. In Japan, it is known as Qi. The scriptures of Christianity call it the Holy Spirit. Unless Kundalini awakens and unfolds, no matter how many techniques we practice, no matter how many scriptures we study, we will never realize our identity with the inner consciousness. In an ordinary sex act, energy moves downwards. Yoga will say to be celibate, because if you are doing both, yoga and indulging in sex, you are creating chaos in your system, and you are. On the one hand, you are trying to pull energy up, and on the other hand, you are throwing energy out, down. If your sex energy, your Kundalini, goes up, rises, and rushes up towards the head, you cannot have an ordinary orgasm. And if you try to have it, you will be in a deep conflict within, because energy is moving up, and you are forcing it down. Energy moving up is not a conflict in a cosmic valley orgasm. You can relax, and that relaxation with your beloved
will help the energy to move higher. Most yoga techniques are against sex, especially Western yoga. If you are a man, and you are escaping from women, or if you are a woman, escaping from men, then whatever you do, the other remains in your mind, and goes on pulling you down. Why? Because, you must be aware continuously, struggling, and controlling. This is a constant strain, which goes on pulling you down. Don't think. Become a circle, give life to your beloved, and renew each other. With no ejaculation, with no throwing energy out, no energy is lost. It becomes a meditation, and through it, you become whole. Feel the warmth that is flowing, the love that is flowing, the energy that is encountered. Just feel it. Float effortlessly, then only will the valley appear, and once the valley appears, you are transcended. Once you feel, and realize the valley, then sex is not there. It has become a meditation, go unhurriedly, slowly, enjoying it, just as if you are going for a walk, not like you are going to work. Do not try to control. Just relax. Take it as play, do not make any end to it. The beginning is enough. Close your eyes, feel the other's body. Feel the other's energy flowing toward you, and be merged in it. Melt in it, it will come. The old habit may persist for a few days, and then it will go away. Just go on relaxing, 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 and if there is no ejaculation, do not feel that something is wrong. Man feels that something has gone wrong, if there is no ejaculation. And do not feel that you have missed something, you have not missed. In the beginning it will be felt as if you are missing something, because the excitement and the peak will not be there. Before the valley comes, you will feel you are missing. This is just an old habit. Within a period of about a month, or 3 weeks, the valley will start to appear, and when the valley appears, you will forget your peaks. No peak is worth this. But you must wait, do not force it, do not control, just relax. Don't talk, don't say anything that will create a disturbance. Don't use mind, use bodies. Use mind only to feel what is happening. Some people may feel that stopping ejaculation is unnatural. Lurking in their hearts may be a conviction that death is natural, and that it should not be tampered with. Ejaculation and death are natural, at the human level of consciousness. But at the divine level of consciousness, what may otherwise be considered unnatural, may be considered natural, and necessary. When energy is brought up into the pineal gland, a chill or tingling sensation is felt to ascend through the spine, to reach the head. It feels a little like an orgasm. If you feel a sensation in the pineal gland, but do not feel the tingling sensation in the middle of your back, do not worry. Your sensitivity will increase with experience. The semen, like blood, is absolute yin, the passive, feminine energy of the body, and the universe. Semen and blood are the essence of the body. When semen is sent through the system, the whole body is restored. Eventually, the semen replaces the other cells of the body. That is a mystical phenomenon, for which there is no explanation. The semen lasts forever, it cannot even be burned. Thank you for watching, and listening to Part 5, Meditation Techniques. The last, and final video of this 5-part video series, The Knowledge from the Fourth Cycle.